Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Victor Alonge on Real Estate, your weekly program that comes to you on real estate and property matters. My name is Victor Alonge, your anchor on this program, and this week we will be looking at a subject that is actually very important, especially to practicing estate surveyors and valuers. We'll be looking at an aspect of our profession that is constantly overlooked, but perhaps happens to be the most, engaging and, the most intense and, where you have even better professional satisfaction. I'm talking about property development. Property development in the sense of providing consultancy or even actually getting involved. And we'll be looking at that today with a pioneer property development consultant and even entrepreneur in this country. He was a pioneer managing director of UAC Property Development Company, PLC, and he took UAC Property Development PLC to the stock exchange. He's going to share his experience with us as an estate surveyor and valuer, and how he actually transited to becoming a property development guru. So I will be doing that after this message. Please don't go away. Welcome back. It's still Victor Alonge on Real Estate. Like I said earlier, we will be looking at property development as a special professional service of estate surveyors and valuers. And I have with me, like I said earlier, a pioneer property development professional and somebody who has seen it and done it. Talking of no other person than Mr. Estate Surveyor and Valuer Engineer Stephen Mayaki. He was the managing director of UAC Property PLC. And we all know what UAC Property PLC stands for in terms of property development nationwide. He took the company to the stock exchange and made a complete success of the property development function of that company. So today we have him, and he's going to share his experience with us and also provide some road to young estate surveyors and even those of us who are already who have been in the practice for some time on how to actually navigate this property development aspect of our profession. So, Mr. Mayaki, you are welcome to this program.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Yes, like I said, today we're talking about your territory.
Yes.
Where you made your name. And yes, tell us how you actually got into property development.
I think that's another accident. We started in 1979. I finished the plant and machinery course, plant and machinery valuation course in England, and came back to work for Knight Frank Carrotly. I was posted to Kano, and I was there doing my valuation work when one day I was called up that the head of plant and machinery division, the head of property development division in Lagos was retiring, and they needed a replacement. They had searched and they couldn't find anybody. So Mr. Shelley, one white man who was the founder of Knight Frank Carrotly, suggested that they should go and call that young man, that young engineer, that he's sure he can do the work. So I came to Lagos and became head of department instantly. I was just 29.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was just 29 then.
And the person you replaced, was he an estate surveyor?
No, one white, Mr. Morris.
Mr. Morris
Was a development expert, and he was retiring.
Okay.
He has passed his age of 60 and had retired.
Okay.
So I came to Lagos. I sat in one big office with one desk. Your desk is almost as big as yours. So I started. And Knight Frank then had a very, in fact, property development then was a very core discipline, or let me say core division of most estate surveyors and partners.
Yes, that's what
Fox
I
and
see.
Co.
Yep.
Adegbemile that took over
Yep,
from
yep,
them.
yep.
Everybody had a division of property
You will
development.
not come here and partners.
Exactly.
And
Everybody, in those days, people were advising developers. The surveyors were advising developers on the economics of development, where to build, what to build, how much the value will be, what value propositions they are giving you, and so on. So Knight Frank had a fledgling division, property development consultancy division, which I then took over and headed.
And that is how
That was how I got into the. But my background helped because I'm an engineer and my mathematics was very strong.
Okay.
And that is the key thing I find in the estate surveyors now, that they don't have strong mathematical background. And that's the reason why you find that many of them are not going into property development. If you want to do property development, from my own experience and from all the people I employed while I was in service, I had favored people who had other qualifications before becoming estate surveyors.
So is not having strong strength in mathematics, is it a deficiency of the curriculum nowadays, or how do you?
I think it has always been a deficiency. The majority of them started, either they had worked with the white guys,
Or they came
or they had graduated, either they were part of the companies that were strong in it were manned by white people.
Okay.
Those who went to form their own graduated from those firms.
So in essence,
They had learned it from.
okay.
these
So
bigger
in
companies.
essence, if you are still not strong mathematically, but if you have had the opportunity of working,
Of course,
you can actually,
yes,
you know,
you can.
okay.
But unfortunately for us, the firms that are strong in
Property
development now are fewer and fewer and fewer, because everybody has now tended towards agency and then property management.
And what do you think are the opportunities or the benefits in property development in terms of
The core of the estate profession really is property development.
fantastic? How
Because
do you mean?
Because that's where you plant the seed. Okay, that's where what is your function? Your functions are basically three: you buy and sell land or property, you maintain property, and
You value.
you value. That property must exist first before these things can be done. And property development is the originator. So if you want to increase your wealth and your portfolio as an estate surveyor, you should assist people to develop.
So in essence,
if I help you, if I advise you and counsel you to develop a property on your land or land that you have bought, it is very, very likely that I will do the sales and marketing of the completed property. It's very likely that I will have the maintenance and management of that property for life. So you have opportunity of increasing your portfolio substantially. Most of the properties that Knight Frank is managing today were part of the portfolio which we developed in the 80s. In the 80s, most of those developments in Lagos Island, for example, were done by Knight Frank and Rodley.
and maybe some with Fox and Co.
Some with Fox and Co. The older ones, Fox and Co. were more prominent in the 60s and the 70s. In the 80s, Knight Frank and Rodley were actually took over. Yeah.
So in essence, in terms of creating opportunities, and what you've said is, we need to be strong in property development.
We need to be very
and
strong.
by engaging in property development, you are creating even employment opportunity for yourself in terms of, when it comes to sale, you will be there if you advise the clients to develop, and then when it comes to management, it's going to be difficult for the client to look elsewhere if you have advised him.
Of course, if you have advised him throughout, yes, indeed, yeah.
So why do you now? I think you've actually mentioned it in passing. How can we, get younger estates of wealth and valuers now to be interested and be involved? Do you see any need for curriculum, adjustment, or is it post?
I think one of the problems you have now is that the structure of the industry has changed.
Okay, the structure has changed.
The structure of industry has changed. Over the years, property development has become an all-commerce business. All right. Traders now are property developers. Many of the estates.
Real Estate Developer Association that wanted to even regulate.
Exactly. In fact, the major reason why that one didn't work is because those who started it were not property developers themselves. Okay, they just took advantage of the fact that they were close to the minister there, who was Jacondi, to set up. Yeah. That's the reason why they didn't work it. Yeah. I mean, when they formed it, nobody in Knight Frank, for example, which was the leading company in those days, was a member. So it was very difficult to sustain such gathering. The structure of the industry has changed. Okay, there are too many strange people who have entered the industry.
Participants.
Too many participants. It's no longer a preserve of the professionals. Everybody has entered now, so it's much more difficult to control. So that doesn't mean you still cannot create a niche.
Good. So how do we create that niche?
You can't create a niche by...
Because our profession, sustainability of our profession actually depends a great deal on our involvement in property development, from what we have discussed.
Yes.
In terms of creating job opportunities, expanding, our.
The question now is, how do you get back the control?
Yeah, that's
the question. How do you get back the control?
Yeah.
Join us next week for the concluding edition of this episode.